Hello, and welcome to the So You Want to Be a Marine Biologist podcast, where we learn about the ocean, share sea stories, and explore ocean careers. I'm your host, Kara Muzia. Let's dive into today's episode. Hey, one more thing. Do you want to dive more into the ocean and marine biology? Need a little guidance on ocean conservation? Head on over to marinebio.life/resources. We've got book recommendations, job posting pages, conference suggestions, and ocean-friendly products. All recommendations have been personally vetted by me, and I will continue to add to the collection as I come across cool things to share. Head on over to marinebio.life/resources to learn more. See you over there. Hello, mermaids, pirates, ocean lovers, and land lubbers. Welcome to today's episode. How many tickles does it take for a squid to laugh? 10. 10 tickles. My guest today is Deanna DeRosia, who is a marine biologist and artist. Deanna's artwork has ranged from hallway sea life murals to painting 50-foot animals on skyscrapers in Silicon Valley. Though art has always intrigued her, Deanna didn't know that she wanted to be a marine biologist or that it was even a career option until after she graduated university. She got her start working with seahorses, and this opportunity opened the doors to the rest of her career. Deanna has since worked with sea turtles and co-founded a marine conservation nonprofit focusing on educating the public on plastic issues, sea turtles, invasive marine species, and restoring a local waterbody. Today, we dive into why grad school is a good option for Deanna, how pursuing both art and science leads to a fulfilling career, and what it takes to become a scientific illustrator. Here's Deanna. Deanna, welcome to the So You Want to Be a Marine Biologist podcast. I'm so excited to have you on.
Hi, everybody.
You offer a really unique perspective because you're an artist and a scientist, and you combine both of these worlds. And before we even really get into how this all plays together, I have one very important question to ask you. What is your favorite sea creature and why?
Oh, God. That's like choosing a favorite child, honestly.
Right.
I guess since it's spooky season, I'm going to have to say the gulper eel right now. It's just so strange, you know? I love anytime I've ever seen it, and I've drawn it several times. I don't know, that big old smile just really fascinates me.
Okay. Where do they live?
They're deep sea. I think they live like 1,000 meters or deeper.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are they a big animal?
I think they grow up to 6 feet long, actually, so their head is kind of small, but their tail is super long, and they have a little like a little glowing lure at the end of their tail, kind of like anglerfish. So they hang that above their face in a similar fashion.
Fun.
Spooky.
Awesome. I'm gonna have to put a link. I'm gonna have to Google it, and I'll put a link in the show notes because it's a good one for this time of year. We're recording in October. This probably won't be released in October. We're like 3 or 4 days out from Halloween now, but I like it. We're gonna stick with the spooky. So if we're released later, what about like November? What's like a big, abundant, feeling thankful animal that you would pick? This is kind of a fun game. I'm gonna have to do it for everybody now.
Like your favorite sea creature for each season?
Yeah.
I mean, now, I'm probably gonna have to say the sea turtle now. I just think sea turtles are they're the perfect ambassador for the ocean. Everybody loves them, and they're just so resilient and so charismatic and just so strange. I think they're just the perfect animal to fall in love with.
They really are. Do you have a particular species that you love, or just all of them are wonderful?
The leatherback, 100%.
Mm-hmm. So how did you know, or when did you know that you wanted to be a marine biologist? Was there a particular experience that helped shape this idea?
Well, so funny thing, I've grown up in Sebastian, Florida my whole life. It's this little beach town on the coast. Um, so I've always had a love for the ocean, but I didn't actually consider it a possibility as a career, like marine biology, until after I graduated undergrad.
Hmm.
So throughout undergrad, I actually worked in a lot of evolution and genetics labs, specifically with fruit flies. And I did a lot of,
A lot of Drosophila.
yes, Drosophila melanogaster. So I did, yeah, I did a lot of indoor microscope kind of work. And I think I just thought that that was kind of the only thing I could do in science for a while.
Mm.
And then I graduated, I came back home, and I started volunteering at a Seahorse aquaculture lab in Vero Beach.
Mm.
And that kind of opened my mind and made me realize, like, oh, I forgot that I really loved all of these things, and there is a possibility for me to work out in the field and focus more on conservation, which is where my heart was really at all along.
That's really neat. So what did you do at the Seahorse lab? What was it for?
So it was, it's no longer around, sadly, but it was kind of a satellite research lab through Florida Institute of Technology. And it was just this cool place where we were doing research, but then also a lot of outreach and education, especially with from like middle school to adults.
Mm.
So we were studying, number one, how to aquaculture seahorses, because they're a very finicky fish. They do not do well in captivity, and a lot of pet trade and medicinal companies that use seahorses, they take the seahorses straight from the wild. So we were trying to figure out a way to make a sustainable aquaculture supply for these things.
Mm.
Um,
What medicinal use do they have?
it's mostly in like Chinese medicine.
Mm. Is this like a rhino horn thing?
Yes, exactly. So it's like crushed up seahorse patters, the same as crushed up rhino horn.
Or shark fin?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a trade for the Chinese for the seahorse. So there's not really any actual medicinal use. I didn't even heard of that.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So I want to back up for 1 second. You went to Florida State University and you had a degree in biology, but you actually minored in chemistry and art. Is that correct?
Yep.
That's a lot. One.
Yes, it was.
But two, that's really amazing. So you went into school with art in mind and you knew you wanted to study that. Have you always wanted to be an artist?
Yeah, so another thing is, even before I went to college, I really wanted to be a cartoonist for Nickelodeon. Like, that was my ultimate dream.
That's awesome. You're a 90s kid when you're like...
Yeah, like I was just like, I'm gonna make the next Rocko's Modern Life. But
rocket power.
But so I kind of that was up until like right before I went to college, and then I started thinking more about, you know, what's really meaningful to me, and that was more environmental conservation and protection. So when I went to FSU, I started solely as a biology major, and I did a full year of just bio classes and chemistry classes, and I just immediately noticed like I need art back in my life. It was too much of just my type A side, you know.
Mhm.
Um, so then I picked up, I almost completed a double major in studio art and biology. I had a couple classes left over. But yeah, I did that. I finished in 5 years because of the extra work I decided to pick up.
Yeah, that's a lot of extra work that you decided to pick up. Good for you. I
Yeah,
feel
but
like
it was so worth it.
yeah, it's a huge growing, college is a huge growing experience anyway, but then if you're adding, I mean, biology and chemistry are fairly related, and a fun fact for listeners, you will take a ton of chemistry classes as a biology major.
Yeah.
And so it's really nice that you can kind of like branch out and use that other part of your brain that seems so like integrated.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that I would say about college is that you are definitely not tied down to the first thing you choose either.
mm,
Um, I mean, it took me a little longer, but I'm really glad that I decided to pick up more of my other interests while I was still in college.
it's the best time to experiment.
Yeah, just try a lot of things out.
Yep, absolutely. Get involved, find a club you like, do all the things. It's there, take advantage of it.
Yes.
So you started working at the Seahorse lab, and I actually I found it earlier. Well, I found some of your graphics. Did you make some infographics and like seahorse DNA drawings for them?
Yep.
That's pretty awesome. So even when you graduated, you were able to combine like working with aquaculture and outreach, and then in your art.
Yeah. So even before, like when I was in college and when I was working at a couple of research labs on campus, even then I would always tell the people I was working with that I was really into art and that I wanted to combine art and science. And I picked up a couple projects through them too. But definitely the Seahorse Lab was the first place that my supervisor, she really noticed that that was my passion. And she tried to think of as many projects as she could to give me to not only, build a portfolio for myself, but to give me experience working with scientists and, just real life experiences of working with clients and stuff. And so it was a really amazing opportunity.
Were you mostly commissioned by the Seahorse Lab, or were there other people that like through the Seahorse Lab that you were able to open other doors and do other artwork for them?
Yeah, so my supervisor, Nancy Pham Ho, she was amazing. She's working for Disney right now for their she's researching dolphins and stuff over there. But she was in touch with a lot of other people in the community, and she got me in touch with the Pelican Audubon Society in our area, and I actually got to do my first mural with them, which that's when I officially knew that I wanted to do more broader public art with my scientific illustration, actually.
Hey, Kara here. I hear it all the time. How do I become a marine biologist? Or my niece wants to help the ocean. Where does she even start? I hear from students, yes, and also nurses, HR professionals, and other mid-career folks who wonder if they could still make their dream of working with sea turtles or sharks come true, wondering if it's too late to answer the ocean's call. Here's what I've learned after 20 years in the field and hundreds of interviews. There's no straight line, no magic degree, and no gatekeeper. You create the path forward. If this sounds overwhelming and vague, I've created 2 tools to help you stop wondering what if and start moving forward with clarity and purpose. The first is my free guide, Be a Marine Biologist Without the Degree. Over 1,000 people have already downloaded this guide and taken their first step towards ocean impact. Inside, you'll find 7 concrete, doable actions to help you get started, whether you're just exploring or ready to make a change. Then there's the Ocean Blueprint. This is a 30-day self-paced course that helps you build your unique path into ocean science and conservation without quitting your job or going back to school. Inside the Ocean Blueprint, you'll get daily prompts to explore your interests, skills, and next steps, a structure that turns overwhelm into real momentum, and a bonus section to root your work into ocean connection. You don't have to wait for a degree, a perfect plan, or permission. Whether you're wading in or ready to take the deep dive, these tools are here to help you move from dreaming to doing. The ocean called. Are you ready to answer? Links in the show notes and on my website, karagracemusia.com. I can't wait to see the waves you'll make. What was your first mural on and of?
So they asked me they had this 48 by 12 foot wall in the breezeway of their building. And they had always dreamed of having a mural there that showed the 3 different habitats that surrounded that building. So I worked with them and a bunch of specialists on, butterflies, plants, birds, to create a design that gave kind of just a base foundation of the things that you could find in that area. Also showing a little bit of behavior or where they're located, whether they live in trees, whether they're on the ground, things like that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Was it just you? 48 feet by 12 feet is quite a large space. Was it just you doing this?
It was pretty much just me. I had a few amazing little helpers that some of them were actually little. They were like kids.
Fun.
But no, I had a few of my artist friends too who would come every now and then to help me paint base coats and things. But the whole design was all me, and I painted all the detail work on top. So yeah, it was a very big project to take on, and I had never done anything like it before. I was super scared, but it all worked out really well, and it was the best project that I said yes to, definitely.
Yeah, there's something to be said for starting before you're ready, and just, you take it piece by piece and figure it out, right?
100%. I don't think that anybody is ever actually ready for a new job or a new project that they take on. Everybody's scared.
It's true. It's true. Even if you think you know of everything, even if you think, I got it all figured out, I know what I'm going to do. Like, there's stuff that goes wrong and you just figure it out, you're not.
Yeah.
After the Audubon Society and your time at the Seahorse Lab, just still really cool. Is that how you kind of got into the sea turtle world? Yes,
it is actually. So honestly, this Seahorse Lab, it really gave me everything.
Yeah. It's amazing how formidable your first job or two out of college is. Like, making connections. It can be a really amazing thing.
And that's really how in my experience, the marine biology world is. It's all about staying in touch with people, making connections, and just trying to meet as many people as you can, because that's when you find opportunities. Mm-hmm. So my supervisor, she knew the guy who was in charge of the sea turtle nesting surveys in my county. Mm-hmm. And it just turned out that he had to leave the position, and she told him that me and my friend were really good workers, and he told ecological associates that we would be great employees to add on for that part of the county.
Perfect. So for listeners, this is how I met Deanna. I worked at EAI, Ecological Associates, EAI as well, but a little bit further south in Martin County. And I feel like we should explain what sea turtle nesting research is, right? So what was the job, Deanna?
The job is so many things.
There's so many things.
But in a nutshell, it's a sea turtle nesting surveyor is just someone who goes out on the beach every morning and records all sea turtle activity in a certain area from the night before. Mm-hmm. So that includes, even if it's just a single crawl, if a turtle came up and didn't nest, or recording all of the nests. We also mark off certain nests. Mm-hmm. We take care of stranded turtles. It's a lot of things.
There's a lot of things. I mean, what people see on the beach is like us, you ride the ATV and it's very glamorous, but mm-hmm. there's a lot of unglamorous things about it too. We're also on our hands and knees digging in the sand, or bellies even, if the nest mm-hmm. is particularly deep. And the reason you dig in the sand is to, if you're marking a nest, you want to make sure you know where the eggs are so that you don't drive a stake through the eggs. And you don't want to put a huge barricaded area because you may impede nesting for another turtle. So you're trying to make the marked area as small as possible. So to do that, you find the eggs so you don't hit them. And then we also excavate the nests, and you're looking for reproductive success. And we wait for the nest to hatch out. Looks like all the hatchlings are gone, and then we go in and dig it up, and we're counting for how many hatched eggs, how many unhatched eggs, any live or dead turtles. And so it helps tell the rest of the story, right? Like you see how many mm-hmm. turtles came up and are nesting. So there's the current population, and then you can see how many are hatching, and that's the future population, potentially. So through EAI, I mean, that was solely sea turtle stuff. Were you still pursuing your art on the side? You had these great experiences working, you had experiences in your undergrad, you had experiences in the Seahorse lab, the Pelican Audubon Society, like that's amazing. Were you able to pursue more?
I was. I also helped found a new environmental nonprofit organization called Coastal Connections, Inc. And I was able to be kind of the art director. I helped do all their social media and helped present the image of the company. I made their logos, which is all it's hard to, I don't think a lot of people realize, but that's all also science illustration, even if it's just, helping brand or present the message that an organization is trying to present. Art is a huge way to make that possible. And so I did that with that company. And I would just pick up little random projects along the way.
Okay. Why was Coastal Connections started? I mean, it's a kind of a big thing to form a group like that. And I found online, I didn't even know it existed, which is amazing. Like sea turtle conservation, plastic reduction, lionfish removal, mm-hmm. and Indian River Lagoon restoration. Those are some pretty huge initiatives that this organization's tackling. So how did that get started?
Yeah, it was actually kind of started just as a way to address those issues in our county specifically. Okay. Me and a couple other people, both from the sea turtle world and just other people in the community, we noticed that there was a lack of representation for those things in Indian River County. So we just decided to try to bring community events and awareness about those things to our own community. Yeah.
Wonderful. So what were some of the things that you did to build awareness? You mentioned a social media presence where did you do outreach events as well?
Yeah, so one of our biggest things was we did things called turtle digs. So a part of the sea turtle nesting surveyor job is that we dig up the nests after they've hatched to count how many eggs hatched, how many didn't, all that stuff to get reproductive success data. And so we would schedule certain nests in a particular area on the beach, and the public was allowed to come to those nests after they've hatched and watch us do the job, and we would give a little educational talk. And we always had huge turnouts. It was so amazing to see how many people, wanted that experience in their lives, and it really felt like we were making a difference in people's mindset. And we would teach them about plastic pollution and all those things. It was a really fun thing. I'm no longer doing it right now because I'm in California, but they're still doing it.
It's a really cool program. So I did want to jump into why you are in California. You had all these great art experiences, and yet you decided to go back to school again to pursue your art. So why did you choose the school that you did, and what made you decide to go back to school in the first place?
Well, it was a lot of factors. I'm sure, as many people know, making a sustainable career in marine biology and art at the same time are both pretty challenging, to say the least. So I had been doing freelancing and the sea turtle job, and I was also working a lot of part-time retail jobs for about 4 or 5 years since I had graduated, and I just kind of still felt like I hadn't gotten anywhere with being able to sustain myself. So officially it was just like, okay, I'm gonna go back to grad school, and I kind of just hoped that would give me more connections, more credibility, and more opportunities to really boost my career, basically. And it did.
Were you getting signs or indications before you went back to school that was something that you should pursue, that it would open other doors, or was it truly just seem like the next step in order to be more credible and gain more connections?
Well, I definitely had noticed that a lot of people have a master's degree, especially in the science field. And yeah, well, so the school that I went to is the California State University of Monterey Bay Science Illustration Program. And it's one of the only natural illustration programs in the country. It's very accredited, and I had also been following a bunch of artists who had graduated from that program, and I was seeing that they were doing really cool things. So I felt like it would have been a good choice to go back and do that program. And it really was. I've gotten already a lot of really awesome projects out of it.
I definitely want to get to what you're working on. What was one or two of the highlights of your program that you just felt like was a great learning experience and really made you thankful that you did it and you went back and got that extra degree and that you had chosen that school? Is there a couple of them?
I would definitely say it kind of felt like I had finally found my people as cliche as that sounds. Um, you know, I love science and I love research, but I had always felt like I was slightly different from everybody because I still had uh, this more creative outlet that I wanted to release. Um, but then when I, you know, had my real art friends too, they didn't really understand the science stuff that I was into. So finally I went to this program and it was just like a bunch of science and art nerds who were just like me. And it was cool. Like I'm still friends with all of them, and it created a really great network and support system for me and everybody there.
That's special. It's really important to have a support network in whatever form it looks like. And that's cool that it was in your classmate. And even before you went back to school, though, you mentioned you were doing freelance, and you have your own studio, your own virtual studio that everybody can go visit you at, Coelacanth Studios. And I've seen some of your pins, and they're pretty awesome. So you have otters, turtles, birds, bees, pineapples, avocados, and it's all just different little like lapel pins, right? That you can that you buy to kind of represent what you love. How did you get started? How did you get started making pins?
I kind of just started. So that's through. I have an Etsy shop that's connected to my website, and that was honestly kind of just a fun thing for me to do on the side. I was doing, you know, more science related illustration, and I still, you know, maybe my Etsy shop is kind of like my cartoonist outlet again. I still can't give that up, you know. So I just wanted to make, you know, more cutesy things and little caricatures of all the nature things that I loved. And, you know, turned out that a lot of other people liked that stuff. So it's still a really fun side project for me.
Awesome. Yeah, I was on your website or on your Etsy shop earlier. It says it's closed because you moved to California and you're thinking about your move. I'm like, okay, fair enough. So let's chat a little bit about your current project, because I've been following on the social medias and it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, so so another great thing that I got through the program that I did was one of my teachers is an amazing artist. Her name is Jane Kim, and her company is called Inkdwell. And she was also a past grad from the program, but now she sometimes teaches a class there. And so I met her through there, and she has started really just like an amazing project called the Migrating Mural. And right now she's focusing on monarch butterflies, and she's creating murals basically all along the path of the migration of monarchs to raise awareness about their decline and how we can help bring them back, because they're a very important animal for our planet.
Would you explain why this tiny butterfly, actually it's kind of a big butterfly compared to the rest of them, but why this animal is so important?
I mean, butterflies and all pollinators are extremely important for us, especially for our food sources. But because of pesticides and habitat destruction, a lot of pollinators are in very heavy decline. I want to say that monarchs have declined by 80% already since, I can't remember the year, but it's a striking number. And so Jane, her motto is that she's creating these huge butterflies so that now they're impossible to ignore. Which is true. She's the one that we're painting right now is 50 feet tall. Just the butterfly is 50 feet tall, and it's on an 11-story building in the middle of San Francisco. So no one in San Francisco can say they do not know about the monarch butterfly now.
That's amazing. So you're actually up on scaffolding and painting. I mean, I'm trying to, I like have done a little bit of painting. I think most people have done those like paint night things. And like things just turn out like a little bit off, right? Like a little Pablo Picasso-ish, just don't look totally right. How do you even go about making a giant mural like that? And it looks, I mean, they're beautiful. It really looks like you just took a photo and blew it up and put it on and made it 50 feet tall and slapped it on the wall. Like there's no impressionistic about it. Like, is there, I'm sure you learned it in your school, but do you draw it out first? Is there sort of technique to that?
Yeah, so there's actually a lot of techniques that muralists use. Some people actually, if there's room, they'll project the image onto their wall and just trace it straight from the projection.
I like tracing.
Yeah. This one was a little too big to do that. So for this one, we actually had to hand draw a 2x2 foot grid all the way down the building and freehand the drawing within the grid from a little diagram that we had.
Wow. So you had like a paper that had two, tiny little squares that corresponded with your 2 foot by 2 foot squares. And then you drew within these squares your butterfly, and that's what you had to go off of to make 10 times.
And it sounds really simple, but that's how we do it.
Amazing.
There's no like other technology, unfortunately, that could help us.
The robots haven't taken over the art world.
They haven't, which they should. They should help us out.
You're in Tech Hub. I feel like there's a tech guru.
Yeah, I should find some tech guy and be like, hey,
this is what we need.
Can you program this, please? Yeah.
Art is really important, and it's really important in conservation and outreach and education because it has a way of persuading people in a way that words and science and data and graphs just can't. It truly paints a picture and really drives certain points home. So your migrating mural, right? People can't ignore the 50-foot butterfly. Somebody else that comes to mind with that is, Guy Harvey, right? He's got shirts and tiles that you can put in your house and paintings, and it's all illustrating this beautiful oceanic marine world and fish. And it really drives home the point of like a wild animal. For like in photography in general, for that, like that's why I'm on Instagram, right? Like I love following all the Nat Geo photographers and seeing what they're doing and finding cool artists like you and like following you. So have you? I know you felt the power of art, but was there like a really good defining story of how it's kind of either driven the narrative in your life or kind of had a pivotal moment for somebody else that you've witnessed?
I think it's all just been throughout my whole experience. I've really noticed that people have reacted to artwork about science or my artwork about the things that I love so much more strongly than they have just by my words. And even someone like me, like I love science, I love learning about it. I would find myself, struggling to grasp things or keep my interest sometimes because it was too analytical or too dry. And I realized that art really has this amazing ability to re-engage our brain and not just make things accessible, but reconnect our feelings to the subject. And I just think it's really powerful, especially in this day and age where we have so many, things that are threatening our planet, it's really important to have things that reignite our passion and our drive to pursue a solution for these things. And I think art is just a really refreshing and perfect way to do that.
Yes. I'd rather look at a pretty drawing than a graph almost any day. It's true.
I mean, I'm sure there's someone out there who would rather look at a graph, but
I mean, of course, different strokes for different folks, I suppose, but I think most people want to look at a pretty picture.
Yeah.
So right now you are driving home the conservation point of butterflies. Do you have plans of getting back into the marine world?
Well, so with my scientific illustration career, I definitely don't have, one organism or one habitat that I want to focus on. I love everything basically. So I would love to make more art for marine biology, and I do want to keep doing mural work. So if anybody needs a big seascape mural, I'm down to do that. But yeah, I would love to keep doing things for the marine world too. That's definitely a big place in my heart.
Of course, growing up on the coast, it's hard not to be. One of the couple last things that I want to bring up before we kind of close up here, I'm loving you have an Inktober campaign and it's all Florida wildlife.
Yeah.
So what inspired this and why not Cali wildlife instead?
Well, actually, it's kind of strange. It's like when you live in one place for a long time, you kind of take advantage of what's around you. And while I love California, I really do miss Florida wildlife, and I've realized that that's really my home. And so I wanted to do this project to help bring awareness to another organization called the Florida Wildlife Corridor. And right now they are working to bring scientists and citizens together to protect basically our last linkage of natural habitat that connects the whole state together. And so with this project I'm doing, I'm highlighting several either endangered or iconic species that benefit from protecting this natural habitat.
The corridor is a really amazing project, and I hope it succeeds. So one of my very favorite questions to ask, well, I already got you on one, was the gulper eel, but the other one is, what is your favorite field story or stories to tell? And you're in the field as an artist and a marine biologist, so I'm like really curious what you come up with. So this could be a best day, like everything went right, it was picture perfect, pun may have been intended on there, or like the worst day ever and everything went wrong, but it's a really great story to tell now.
Oh God. There's just so many. Yeah, I didn't realize that both the directions I've taken in science and art are just like outdoor, dirty, disgusting work.
Or you're sitting like on a bridge, painting landscapes, sipping your coffee, and like maybe you get a little paint on your fingers. It's not what your day to day looks like. Painting murals.
At all, what it is. We are like up, like strapped in harnesses, covered in paint, covered in sweat. Getting that nice city air all up in us.
Excellent.
But honestly, it's all of the interactions that I've had with people are definitely the most memorable. Because even for the sea turtle job, we get, you're out on the beach, just out in the public, and you get approached by some really kooky characters sometimes.
Sometimes there are such wonderful people, and then
other times.
So is there a particular instance that popped into your mind?
Well, I guess this might be kind of a sad story, but like looking back,
You're gonna have to counteract it if it's a sad story, but go ahead.
Well, it was just okay. So I was releasing baby sea turtles in the morning. It was like so for non-sea turtle people, if we find hatchlings in a nest, like first thing in the morning, we can release them in the water if it's before a certain time. So I was doing that, and the son and his dad came up to me. The boy was maybe like 6 or 7, and they were just like, "Oh, can we watch you do this?" And I was like, "Of course." And so I released the sea turtle. It got into the water. It was swimming, living its best life, and then the pelican like immediately just swooped right in and got the little sea turtle, and I just like my mouth dropped, and I was just like, I pray that this little boy didn't just see that.
Did he?
I don't think he did. He did not react if he did. But in my mind, I was just frantically trying to think like, oh my God, now I'm going to have to explain like death and nature, like the brutality of nature to this child. But that didn't happen. So, but it kind of, embodied nature perfectly. It's like 1 minute something is beautiful and inspiring, and the next minute it's just brutal,
It's really true. I've had quite a few of those moments. The birds coming out of nowhere, and you're like, no, I intentionally looked up. Like, you were not here 2 seconds ago.
Oh, I have chased seagulls on my ATV before to get them away from babies.
Do what you can, right? So we chatted a little bit before we started recording about a conservation ask. I always like to end my episode with an action item for the audience. And you came up with a really excellent one. Would you like to share it?
Yes. Everybody knows about plastic pollution and how that's really one of the main threats facing our oceans. And the truth is that really the only way to fix this problem is to completely reduce our plastic consumption. Unfortunately, our recycling system in the world is not perfect. And even if you do put plastic in a recycling bin, it's not guaranteed that it's actually going to be recycled. Really, the best thing that everyone can do is just say no to plastic, any kind of plastic.
Bring your bags, bring your own cups, bring your own water bottles.
Yep.
It's a great ask. Go forth and bring your own stuff, y'all.
Do it.
So if listeners want to connect with you, see your work, where can they find you?
I'm mostly active on Instagram. My handle is Coelacanth Studios. It's spelled Seacanth. It's kind of a play on words of the coelacanth fish. That's that, and my website, which is also linked to Instagram. Feel free to message me, say hi. I love getting random people on there talking to me.
It's so much fun, isn't it?
I've actually made a lot of friends on Instagram.
It's a really good connector because
it is.
I don't know. Instagram's great.
Yeah.
Pretty photos and a good way to connect with people. Awesome. Yeah. And I will put a link to all of this in the show notes, marinebio.life/Deanna. And I'll link to everything we've talked about, as well as where you can find Deanna. Awesome. Well, this was so much fun, Deanna. Thank you for being on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Hey, do you want to help the oceans? Have you considered a career in marine biology, but maybe just aren't sure where to start? Head on over to my website, marinebio.life, and subscribe to my newsletter. When you subscribe, you'll receive a free PDF download where you'll learn the 7 steps to becoming a marine biologist without the degree. Thank you for listening to today's show. I'd love to hear any insight you've gleaned. Leave a comment in the show notes or send me an email over at marinebio.life. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a review and of course, share with your friends. If you want more resources for ocean news, including conservation topics and careers, plus personal insight from me that I just don't share anywhere else, join me at marinebio.life and sign up for email updates. Keep after your dreams and making waves in your community. One person can make a difference. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time on the So You Want to Be a Marine Biologist podcast.